What is going on, guys? It is WrestleGamia here, back with some more news. And join us today as we look at some of the biggest stories out there in the wrestling bubble of the gaming world, including the official cancellation of WWE 2K21, Yuke's comments on their future with the 2K franchise, how THQ's bankruptcy affected WWE wrestlers' royalties, and an update on the upcoming All Elite Wrestling video game. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos. Let's waste no further time and get straight into the first story, and it's a big one, as WWE 2K21 has been officially cancelled. Well, we already suspected that this one was going to happen, as rumours had been swirling around for over a week now about WWE 2K21's imminent demise, and now finally we have confirmation that the game has been officially cancelled. Yes, various news sites are already reporting on this, with it looking like the announcement came from WWE themselves and not 2K, interestingly enough. During WWE's quarterly investors call, interim chief financial officer Frank Riddick was asked about the game, stating its official cancellation. The Wrestling Observer reported, WWE today confirmed that there will be no WWE 2K21 release this fall. Near the very end of today's Quarter 1 financial briefing, Frank A. Riddick III, the interim chief financial officer of WWE, confirmed that there would be no launch of a game this year. This would mark the first time since 1997 that a WWE video game won't be released annually. Now, there was a whole host of interesting information about the state of the company available on that call, so we recommend that you go and listen or check out our WrestleGamia video for all of the major points mentioned in the meeting. As we said, insiders had been speculating about the game's cancellation in last week or so, with former 2K writer Justin Leeper posting a YouTube video on the topic. Leeper has sources within 2K that confirm that the game was not even being worked on, leading to its supposed cancellation. Now, no official reason has been given for the cancellation as of yet, but we can only assume it was a combination of poor sales and quality that led to this, something which Take-Two Interactive had reportedly talked about being disappointed with back in their February investors call. At the time, Take-Two's executive chairman and CEO Strauss Zelnick had stated that the WWE brand continues to expand worldwide and there remains a substantial long-term opportunity to grow our WWE 2K series. With this said, we have to wonder why 2K didn't make the announcement themselves, and whether they were aware that the WWE were going to be dropping this bombshell before they had a chance to talk about it. Is this evidence of a fracture of sorts between the two companies? Was it simple miscommunication, or was it just Frank Riddick being put on the spot with an unexpected question at the investors call? On top of this, we also have to wonder what this means for the series now. There's been no suggestion that the 2K game series has been dropped entirely, something which is important to note here, and as far as we're aware right now, we can expect 2K22 to come out in 2 years' time, right on schedule. There was speculation that an entirely different type of WWE game would be coming out this year to fill the void of 2K21, with the aforementioned Justin Leeper going as far as to say it wouldn't feature any involvement from lead developers' visual concepts at all. This at the time had led to the speculation that Yuke's were being wooed back into a development role with the franchise, however this was quickly shut down by their company's representatives. Xavier Woods has also said a while back that he would hopefully reveal news about the return of General Manager mode in 2 to 3 months, and that this revelation had nothing to do with 2K20, so some are even speculating that it will be some kind of management sim that we will see released this year. Although they got strong competition ahead of them, as Total Extreme Wrestling 2020, one of the biggest wrestling management sims, is going to be released this year. That's all speculation, however, and the real answer to this question is that we simply don't know what the future holds for WWE games right now, though we can expect some new information very soon, as this morning 2K tweeted out, "We'll be sharing details on the future of WWE 2K franchise, as well as some exciting news on Monday at 7 AM Pacific time." This is definitely good news, as it seemingly confirms that 2K already have plans for something else, and they wanted to get the word out there as quickly as possible to quell fans' concerns following the announcement of 2K21's cancellation. To be honest, it's quite sad that we won't be getting a WWE annual game this year, as we've been getting one since 1998. But on the other hand, we're kinda happy that 2K21 has been cancelled, not because we want to see the series fail, but because it now gives 2K and Visual Concepts more time to work on something really good for 2K22. This is especially necessary now, as it was clear based on 2K20 that Visual Concepts still need to get to grips with the systems that their former partners Yuke's had built over the years, or better yet, to build some new systems of their own. We've spoken about this in more details in previous videos, which you can check out on the channel, but suffice to say, this allows them to let the heat die down after 2K20's catastrophic failure. They need to come back with something a bit more fresher and a bit more special that can wow gamers again, and then entice them back to the series. Next up, Yuke's confirms it has no involvement in WWE 2K's future. While the most devoted of fans were still holding out hope that WWE 2K21 will be released on schedule at the end of this year, most had already accepted and even welcomed the seeming inevitability that the game wouldn't come out at all. Now that confirmation of this cancellation has broken after rumours of it circling around earlier this week, we can take a look at where former developers Yuke's stands on the matter. With Visual Concepts' first big blunder of their first solo development effort in the series so spectacularly, many were left wondering if 2K would try and entice Yuke's back into the fold full-time to save the floundering franchise. Now this of course was before the official cancellation announcement came. However, in an interview with the videogameschronicle.com, the company confirmed that they would have no involvement in future games of the WWE 2K series. Yuke's of course began their association with the WWE way back in 1999 with the PlayStation original SmackDown. The role with this developer has carried on for 2 decades and only changed with the 2K20 announcement when Visual Concepts, who had been co-developers of the series for some time, took over the reins fully, relegating Yuke's to a tech support role. Now that Yuke's are working on developing their own wrestling game, they seemingly want to remove themselves from the fold completely, so this is really bad news for the fans of the 2K franchise. With all that said, what we're interested in right now is details about Yuke's new wrestling game coming up soon. There's been a huge amount of speculation on this already. Not to mention that, we've also got a big upcoming game from Virtual Basement, which plans to be a 2K beta and is going to be released on the PlayStation 5 and will include wrestlers from Impact Wrestling, Ring of Honor and other such, the upcoming AEW game, and not to mention smaller games like Retromania, which will also fill in the void for wrestling gamers. We just hope it won't be too long before we get an official WWE 2K game. Next up, Ryback speaks about how THQ's bankruptcy affected the WWE roster. While the top members of the WWE roster like John Cena, Becky Lynch or Seth Rollins are very highly paid, often reaching into the millions with their paychecks, others on the middle or lower end of the scale don't quite pull in the same downside. They are paid very well no doubt, but when taking into account the fact that they have to pay for things like travel and health insurance out of their own pockets, they may not be as well off as you would think. Royalties from other revenue streams can then be hugely important for these performers, and few are a bigger cash cow for the WWE roster than the 2K video game series. On a recent episode of his Conversations with the Big Guy podcast, former WWE superstar Ryback spoke about how he and his fellow wrestlers felt the blow big time when THQ went bankrupt in 2012, something which ended up costing them thousands of dollars a year each in video game likeness royalties. Ryback went into further detail on this by stating that before the company's bankruptcy, video game pay for WWE wrestlers could be anywhere from $60,000 and $90,000 per year. However, in the years after this, they were only making an average of around $10,000 or $11,000 each. This is a very dramatic drop and must have been a pretty big blow to wrestlers who had been relying on this money before. It appears that it was 2K who was responsible for slashing the payouts once they took over the franchise with 2K14, though Ryback also lays a lot of the blame on WWE's shoulders for allowing this to happen and not pushing harder to get their wrestlers better pay. The timely discussion came out of a conversation between the Big Guy and David Starr on the aforementioned podcast. Starr, who has been notable amongst the independent wrestling scene as someone who has pushed hard for wrestler unionization for years in order to protect them from things like this, also added that an unnamed friend of his who appeared on WWE's smaller shoulder shows received an offer of only $2,800 for their appearance in a WWE game, with them allegedly then being pressured by the company when they chose not to accept this. It's an interesting time for this information to come out, given just how much criticism WWE has received in the past week for releasing so many members of their workforce during a global pandemic, despite being on track to make record profits this year. And finally, Cody Rhodes gives an honest update of the AEW video game. Gamers and AEW fans alike are wondering what All Elite Wrestling's video game will look like, and equally importantly, when the game will come out. Cody Rhodes recently appeared on Bleacher Report and was asked about when fans can expect the game. He mentioned, I'll give the honest update. The AEW video game will be something all fans know about as we begin the process and as we move forward. If we were to make a very good game, which is our intention, it's gonna take time. Game development is arduous, it's a very creative space and we want to do it right. We will keep people updated, it won't come as a surprise, we want them to take the journey with us. Be extra patient so we can deliver. That's exactly what we want them to do. Take their time on this release, don't rush it out like 2K20. But there you have it guys, the latest wrestling gaming news. Are you guys upset that we won't be getting 2K21 this year? Let us know in the comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling video game content.